So this is my last deck of slides, and it contains two major topics, one on GAS and one on cybersecurity. Right? I hope that we could cover all the things in this deck of slides today. If we can't, then the spillover will be carry on with next week lecture. So let's see how things goes ahead. So I hope that you all can actively participate. Then I don't have to spend too much time waiting for responses. So why are we talking about GAS? And what is GAS? GAS is part of Google Suite. All right. So this morning, we will briefly look at what Google can offer to us. Next, we will dive into Google Apps Script to share with you how we can design our or come out with web app. And with web app, we can then work on developing web API, just like how you have made use of ThinkSpeak web API to update and to request for data. Then, in order to allow data storage in the context of the Google Suite, I will share a little bit on what are the available APIs for you to make use of so that your GAS, your Google Apps Script, can then work on your Google Sheets. All right. So in this case, this spreadsheet refers to Google Sheets. And then finally, how can we gel the two together? In this case, the GAS and our embedded IoT. All right. So this set of slides contain elements of software development, elements of IoT integration, and so on. I know that within 1 hour to cover this topic can be too short. So there are useful materials for those who would like to pick up these new skills, which is GAS. There are 4 texts or 4 textbooks that I recommend. And these textbooks are easy to read, especially for the first 2. And for those who want to rely on online platform, all right, you can actually make use of this W3 School. This is a website that I pick up JavaScript, web page design, and so on. And most of their tutorials are free. So for those who are keen to pick up new skill sets, I would recommend you to go to W3 School to have a look. And I think they have also come out with certifications. If you would like to take up certain courses, you can also go to their website. All right. Last but not least, we have a couple of these books in our library. And if you want, you can actually borrow some of these ebooks or this ebook to take a closer look. Whatever I have provided in my lecture notes in terms of application with GAS, they are limited. They are just enough for you to do data collection and data storage. Anything beyond, I think you still have to read outside of what I have prepared for you. Okay, let's run our first activity. This activity should be a straightforward one. No need to think too hard. Whatever that comes into your mind, you just select the answer. How many Google apps are there? All right, how many Google application? This apps refers to application. What I'm showing here, these are all, these are apps or application from Google, Chromebook, your G Drive, your email account, your assistant, and so on. All right, there are plentiful. Not just this, we still have Google Pay, Google Shopping, Google TV, so on and so forth. What else? These are some more. All right, for me, when I drive or navigate, I need a map to help me. And hidden within all this is this sheets, which is your Excel, your spreadsheet that we are going to make use of. All right. So you can see that there are plentiful of apps, and I think what I've just shown is not exhaustive. There are new apps that's being developed, and these are the things that are around us to help with our productivity. And how many of these are you using? Have you been using them? I think lately, for the translate has been very helpful, especially for tourists going to foreign countries and so on. All right. So talking about the Google Sheets for us to store data and so on. And the title of this, okay, pardon me, I think there's a typo error here. It's not Google, should be Google. In terms of Google Apps Script, what is or where is that, right? Have any one of you seen it before? In fact, it is quite obscure, as in it is well hidden somewhere, which is hard to find. Therefore, in this slide, I'm trying to explain to you where you can locate it and where you can activate your Google Apps Script. And I believe all of you would have a Google account, right? If you get into your Google Drive by signing in into your Google account, and when you click on New, there's an option More. Under More, you should be able to locate Google Apps Script. And the icon is quite unique. The icon is actually an arrow, all right? It's an arrow pointing to the right. And this arrow, I personally suspect it is to say that this is some form of automation, right? Allowing whatever that you're developing to have some form of automation to work on your documents. And in this case, we are trying to get use or make use of Google Apps Script to help us do data storage by sending or storing data into Google Sheets. Okay, so we are going to do the integration using Google Apps Script and Google Sheets. So what is Google Apps Script? Okay, in short, most of the time, the first letter of Google Apps Script has been put together, right? But we don't really pronounce this as gas, but we call this GAS, all right? GAS in short refers to Google Apps Script. It's part of Google Suite. It is a coding platform where you can develop automation, right? So just like your Python, some of you are using Colab, or some of you are using some other IDE. For us, when we do our embedded coding, we use Arduino IDE and so on. But for GAS, it has its own platform, right? It has its own platform. It is none other than a programming environment. Okay, programming environment, and the language it uses is JS, JavaScript, right? JavaScript. And like I shared before, it allows us to do automation within Google environment, right? Within Google environment. But of course, you can go beyond, but that is not the context of our focus today. So generally, when you develop a code or a program, and in this case, GAS, when you have your script, the script can perform or execute in three different manners, right? It comes in three different forms. The first form is a standalone, just like you have a Python script that execute on your laptop. That's standalone. It can be embedded. Embedded means your app script is embedded within your documents. It could be your Google Sheets. It could be in some other Google application. For us, we will be focusing on developing a web app so that it becomes a feature available within the internet. Either your handphone or your MKR can then trigger this web app to perform that automation. All right, so we'll be focusing on web app. So what is the syntax or the programming environment that we're supposed to pay attention to? Firstly, take note that the language is JS. It looks slightly different. I would say slightly different because the way it's structured. But overall, the programming syntax like if else, the conditional statement and so on remains the same. Okay, therefore, it is like somewhat the same, somewhat different. Okay, so that kind of feeling. But for me, I'm trying my best to share with you what are the important aspects of getting into GAS, and you should pay attention to some of the keywords or key commands so that you can activate your web app. I have shared earlier some resemblance to what you have done, so it's not totally new. Something interesting about the way they create fun names and so on, they use a camel style, right? Camel style, as I try to emphasize over here. There are some small cat, there are some big cat. This is more to help with human readability, so that when you look at their function names, you can be able to understand what it is meant for based on the way it is being described. So generally, JavaScript, JAS, they are OOP. All right, what is OOP? Object-oriented programming, where they have class objects, they have attributes, they have methods built within. So OOP or object programming is not new to all of you, just like the way you have used serial.begin. The .begin is a method within the serial function. You have used serial.print. This is also using the methods or the print function within serial to print to serial monitor. All right, so all these are things that you have already been making use of. Something that is really powerful within JavaScript is the error handling. All right, just to share with you about the error handling, that they have this try and catch. All right, try something. If there's an error, catch it so that your program won't hang. And this is one of the feature in JavaScript. But for us, I don't think we are using any of this. Even if we are using, it will be just for the lab activities and so on. For those who really want to deep dive into becoming a GIS developer, right, we have this ebook for you to reference to. Okay, this is a video you can follow with the video guide. So back to the type of GIS deployment, I mentioned that standalone is not bounded to anything. It just runs upon execution within the GIS environment. Next, it can be bounded to any of the Google Workspace document embedded within the spreadsheet, embedded with some other applications. All right, so this tool is for you to take note. What I want you to do is to pay attention to web app. This web app is the type of JavaScript, sorry, the GIS that I want you to develop and deploy so that any client within the internet can trigger and execute your web app. And that's the part that I'm trying to get you to get a full picture of how you can come up with IoT application. And in this case, developing your own web app. And with that web app, you can then do automation to store data into sheets or to retrieve data from your sheets. All right. So back to our earlier, I think was it in week 1 when you first tried with MKR station and MKR AP example code. I want to draw your attention to what is server and client, right? We have been talking about server and client in different occasions, when we have Modbus, when we have MQTT and so on. Okay, so back to this slide. First of all, I want you to understand the concept of call and also callback. What is call? Call refers to sending code to the server for processing. Callback is the reply that you retrieve from the server. So remember, those numbers that we get to see from ThinkSpeak server when we send an update request, the number that sends back, that number that has been sent back is referring to the callback from the server. Okay, so these are names that you need to get accustomed to, so that when we talk about call, you know that it is sending to the server. Callback is actually a response from the server. So this is just to highlight to you how things are like. We have client. So just now or this morning, we talk about MQTT client. So in terms of web app design, you have your web app client, and then we have your Google Cloud server. So when the client send data to the server, this is a call, or in some of the scenario in the past, we talk about request data from the server. All right, call and request, it refers to the same thing, data flowing to the server, and then the response will be deemed as a callback. So let's move on to another question to test your understanding about server and client, right? Which system or server is used to store and execute Google Apps Script standalone script, right? GIS mode come in 3 forms: standalone, embedded, and web app. So in this question, which is the answer? A, your computer; B, your mobile phone; C, your web browser; D, Google Cloud server. Remember, we talked about GIS. GIS is Google Apps Script. And when it's standalone, the script isn't residing on your laptop, right? Isn't residing in your laptop nor your mobile phone. Some of you guess it's on the web browser. The web browser is only trying to share with you the display, right? The interface. But the script is actually still residing within your cloud server. Remember, we started off within Google Drive. So your script is actually stored inside Google Drive, right? Your GAS is stored inside Google Drive. When you try to run your script, it is the server executing your script, right? So I hope that you can understand from here that your browser is not executing, but is executing in the server itself. Therefore, if it's running within the server, or in this case, your Google server, then your script and the server can then access whatever is within your server, and in this case, your Google Drive. So you can do a lot of automation. If you put everything within the Google Drive, then it will be seamlessly integrated. But if you were to take data from outside, then there will be some latency because it's traveling to other destination and so on. All right, but in short, back to this particular question, the answer is D. Okay, next, testing you again on the concept of server and client. Which is the most representative, or is a good representative of a web app client? All right. Remember, we look at MQTT. We talk about client being devices, right? Client being devices, and these devices, when they are in the internet, all right, they are considered client because they initiate all the requests or the call. And when you develop a web app, the web app itself will not execute, right? The web app itself will not execute unless a client comes in to trigger the web app. And the client can be what? Can be your laptop, right? Your laptop could have scripts doing the web request. It could be your mobile phone, mobile apps, or it could be any web browser. So in fact, I could have one more entry talking about your MKR. So your MKR Wi-Fi 1010 being a device itself can be a web app client, which you will probably get to see this week in this week lab activity. If you were fast enough, you will then integrate your MKR to interact with your web app, which is your Google web app, to send data to your Google Sheets. All right. So in this case, the server side would be the server executing the script, but it is those devices, those web requests that comes along that we deem them as clients, right? So your handphone, your laptop, your MKR, all these are considered clients. One, okay, I think for that I'll skip what I want to say. So I hope that you are clear now that when we talk about client, this refers to devices within the network, and for the web app client, the clients are the ones that trigger the call from the server, for the server side to execute the web app application.